Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and we're going to be talking about the first appearance and a little bit more for Everett K. Ross. Okay, check out Everett K. Ross explained in a minute. He's going to be in the upcoming Black Panther movie, and oof, he's a funny guy. Okay, so his first appearance is just it's not a cameo, but it's just a couple of panels for the most part, a few pages, where he shows up in Ka-Zar Volume 3. Okay, issue number 17, more specifically. Now, this is actually written by Christopher James Priest. Kenny Martinez is actually on art. What happens is, Ka-Zar got himself into some trouble because he comes to New York, he leaves Shanna back at home, Shanna the She-Devil, and when he comes to New York, somebody frames him and shoots up a bunch of people on a subway. He shows up at the very last minute, puts a knife through the guy's foot, the gunman, and everybody's thinking he went and killed everybody. So, yeah, the Punisher shows up to go after him, all sorts of crazy things. Zebu, the saber-toothed tiger, gets shot up with tranq darts. Daredevil shows up. Matt Murdock is there. Foggy Nelson is actually in this particular issue, having a conversation with someone who's supposed to be able to help out to figure out what's going on with Kevin. Where is he? Where's Zebu hiding? All that stuff, so they could be brought to justice, but at the same time also be defended. So all of a sudden, Everett K. Ross shows up with a donut in his mouth, a cup of coffee in his hands, and he's rollerblading indoors. Oh yeah, we're already gonna like this guy, aren't we? Now he's drawn very differently here. Kenny Martinez doing this. And he's just in here for a little bit. He's talking up a big game. He went to law school at Oxford. He studied law at Oxford, I should say. And he's not really that good at what he does. Now, when we next see him, and they actually have a little panel here at the end, his last quick panel, where they say, hey, if you want to see more of Everett K. Ross, you can go and check him out in the upcoming Black Panther series. Now, this particular issue was dropped September of 1998. So 2 months later, just 2 short months later, boom, he shows up over here in Black Panther issue number 1. Now, this is volume 3. This is the Christopher Priest run again. Okay, Christopher Priest comes over here and he starts writing for this Black Panther series. Kenny Martinez is not drawing this one. This is Mark Texeira is actually on this. And Everett is drawn very differently. He's not the rollerblading doofus. He's a completely different kind of doofus, and he's known as the whitest boy in America, and it's hysterical. Oh my God, this is so hysterical. So the butt end of 1998, and there are a bunch of references in this that are very dated, very dated. All right, just some of the things that happen to Everett K. Ross in this series. Guys, I'm recommending the heck out of Christopher Priest's run. Okay, there's been several runs of the Black Panther. All of them have been good. All of them have been very different for their own reasons. It's like there's just magic. If somebody's going to write for Black Panther, boom, they got to be magic. They got to be good. So in this run, the Priest run, which is oftentimes considered the best run, this is the litmus test. Anybody who writes a run after this is going to be compared with Christopher Priest's run. And it was a hysterical run because of Everett. So Everett, like in the very beginning, he's actually working for like a version of the NSA. And he's an advisor for the NSA in Volume 4, written by Reginald Hudlin. That's the very famous one that actually became the made-for-TV miniseries that you'll probably see on Netflix and things like that, if Disney still has them on there. And anyway, it's also a sold DVD. You might even be able to see it on YouTube, for crying out loud. But here in Volume 3, he shows up. He's this guy. He's just he's supposed to be a guy who is a liaison for dignitaries. Okay, so somebody from another country comes over who's royalty. He kind of shadows them around. It's like, hey, you need anything? You need a ride someplace? You need me to go and get you some takeout? What do you need? What do you want? All right, he's the gopher guy, basically. He's just kind of watching over him. It's his responsibility. Now, this was also dumped on him. okay, by his boss, who she actually dated Black Panther before, back when he was actually in America disguised as a teacher. So, uh, and this guy Everett winds up dating this girl later on. So it's all good. It's all funny. At one point, he's trying to speak Cantonese to a Filipino. We know Filipinos speak Tagalog, so that was a particularly funny instance. And it shows that T'Challa not only knows Tagalog, but also knows Cantonese. So Everett's actually pretty good in Cantonese. They didn't say he was bad in it at all. He was good enough that T'Challa understood him completely everything he said. But he's able to recognize that this guy doesn't speak Cantonese, which is a minor language in China. And by minor, what I mean is the national language is Mandarin, so it's considered a minority language in China. Anyway, so Everett is trying to order Chinese food from this Filipino guy in Cantonese. It's kind of like a Wayne's World sort of moment, Wayne's World 2 moment. Anyway, so he turns around and he sees that two of the Dora Milaje, and yes, it is pronounced Dora Milaje. Dora Milaje. I mean, it's like they actually sound it out for you. So all the people who say like the Dora Milaje, Dora Milaje, and all these little names that they're trying to, you can tell they don't really read the comics. I'm just pointing that out, okay? It's spelled out phonetically multiple times in this run, and it's the most famous run. So, no shade on anybody. It is what it is. But the Dora Milaje, they are, it's actually Nakia and Okaya. Okio. Jeez. Okie, but I always pronounce it Okio. What do you call it? They're both over here on the side just having a conversation. Mind you, they only speak in Hausa, which is an actual language. It is an actual Central Northern African language. And then there's Wakandan proper. But the Black Panther, T'Challa, only speaks to them, and they only respond to him, and they only speak in Hausa. So that's whatever. It's fairly important. Maybe not for right now. So he sees this one dude who's a known gangster in this area going up to them. So he runs over to try and protect. He runs over and tries to protect the Dora Milaje. I could die right now. That's funny. So he gets beaten up. He gets saved by this cop with a shotgun. That guy's a trip. Later on, he realizes that gangster stole his wallet. So now he's got to go and try and find his wallet. He's got to try and find the gangster and get his wallet back. But the guy is at a strip joint. So he runs in there. Dude's like, oh yeah, you want it? Here you go. And he throws it to the girls. Yo, once you send something to the girls, they're not giving it back. Okay? No, I do not know this from experience. So, a lot of movies. So anyways, these girls, they're like, you want it back? Mud fight. So they go and mud fight. It's really bad. They wind up getting arrested. This leads to a very famous scene from the comic book, and this was showed multiple times. The way this is described is in the worst form of a Pulp Fiction kind of flashback out of order scene that you can imagine, and it runs over several books. So they'll give you certain of the flashbacks, and later on when they're actually retelling the story in full and in order-ish, you get to see where all those hotspots are, and it makes sense, and it's like, dude, that is great. What a great way to write a comic book. And by a comic book, I don't mean a single issue. Several issues. What a great way to do that. Excellent first arc here. Yeah, this starts in Black Panther Volume 3, number 1, So later on, so while he's in there, he winds up losing his pants. They take his pants from him, the strippers. So he goes to the police station. He's like, they took my pants. And then he's horrified by this. So he's staying in this really messed up place. And there's these giant rats. And he's pulling out his gun to try and keep these rats at bay. Hiding up on the toilet. And he's stuck in his skivvies because they took his pants. There's no ID, nothing. To show that he's a government official, they have to run the diplomatic immunity plates that he has on his car. So at one point, Mephisto shows up. Yeah, no joke. No joke. Mephisto actually shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here to see your master. I'm here to see Black Panther, T'Challa." It's like, "Oh, yeah, just wait over here, I guess." so, so it's only about 15 minutes that he's there, but he's terrified and he doesn't know what to say. So he starts saying the weirdest things to this dude. And there is just so many pages devoted to, like the one that you're seeing now, that show like how completely terrified he is, but he's trying to like be normal. So many of those pages. Finally, Mephisto asks him, "So, they stole your pants, huh?" And there's certain rules that Mephisto has to follow. So he can't read your mind, all right, and he can't make you enter hell without your permission, hell proper, which is different from things that we've seen before, like Mephisto versus all of those stories. Anyway, so what we have here is he basically gives him a pair of pants. He says, "Here you go, boom, here's a pair of pants for you, buddy." And these are called the Devil's Pants. And I consider this first arc, like this is not official by any means, but I consider it to be what do you call the Devil's Pants saga, because this is just so epic. It's hysterical, guys. You have to read this. If you've read this, you're probably laughing with me right now, remembering how funny this was. This was hysterical. Because right away he's like, "Wait a second, did I just make a deal with the devil? Did I just give away my soul for a pair of pants?" And the devil at one point, Mephisto telling him at one point, "Yeah, I only take the purest, noblest of souls. But you're from Washington, right? Yeah, so you're safe." Just, but it doesn't end there. It doesn't even end with this scene that you're seeing right here. Oh, that's right. Black Panther totally decks and knocks out Mephisto. And there's a very good reason for why he was able to do this. It's not just oh, Black Panther's OP. No, he's smart. Okay? He's smart. He's smarter than. Smarter than what? Well, there's a blank there. Fill in whatever you'd like. He's smarter than that. Okay? Black Panther is just he's not even that funny. It's not even that he's trying to be funny. Everett K. Ross is there for the humor, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It's like the buddy cop movie, you know? But Everett Ross winds up becoming a very crucial part of the Black Panther stories, and I'm actually saddened that more series didn't involve him a lot more, like a whole lot more actually being there. He wound up becoming a dignitary for Wakanda, for the Black Panther, T'Challa very specifically. He posed as the Black Panther at T'Challa's request, and he even became the regent ruler of Wakanda. That's right. Wakanda technically had a white ruler at one point, and it was Everett K. Ross, because as goofy and kooky as this dude is, he really is a noble guy. He really is a terribly good guy, you know? And T'Challa trusts him. And it's just, they lead to some of the best stories in this series. So I highly recommend this series, guys. Please go and check it out. Go and check out your local comic book store. See if they got it, see if they can order it. Worst case scenario, there is a link in the description. All right? So, yeah, support your local comic book store, or at the very least, read the story. Okay? So that's it for me, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.